Welcome to our PowerPoint on water movement in plants by Julia Bonikoski and Blaine Jack.
One really important thing that you will need to take care of is water for your plants. In this video, we will teach you why plants need water, how water moves and functions in a plant, and the importance of not overwatering or underwatering your plants.
Plants need water for many different reasons. Inside a plant cell, there are many functioning parts. All of these parts are inside of a membrane and they are submersed in a liquid called cytoplasm. 80 to 90% of the cytoplasm is made up of water. If the cells in a plant are lacking water, they become weaker. The main way that a plant cell gets its structure is by being full of water. Cells are kind of like a water mattress. If you make a water mattress nice and full, then you'll have lots of support when sleeping. If it starts to leak, then you'll end up having an uncomfortable sleep on the bed frame instead. So if we have millions of plant cells that act like water beds, then we will need to keep them nice and full of water to keep the whole plant strong. This refers to turgidity.
Plant roots aren't able to grab the nutrients that it needs. Instead, roots absorb the nutrients, and since nutrients are solids, it is very hard to absorb them unless they are dissolved in water. Plants also need to make their own sugars to survive. They make these sugars through photosynthesis. For a plant to photosynthesize, it needs water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight. If one of these is missing, then the plant can't make the sugars that it will need for respiration. One last thing that a plant needs water for is to keep it cool during a hot day. In every leaf, there are very tiny holes that open and close. These are called stomata. The stomata lose water during the day to help keep the plant cool. It is similar to how humans sweat when we start to overheat.
Now let's talk about how water moves throughout a plant. All roots have tiny hairs. These roots are what absorb all the water through diffusion. Diffusion is when water moves from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. This means you will need water to be more concentrated outside of the plant. If the soil is dry, that means the water is more concentrated inside of the plant, causing the roots to lose water.
Throughout every plant, there are tiny tubes that water moves through. These tubes are called xylem. Water gets taken to every part of the plant through the xylem, like veins in our body. When water particles are making their way through a plant, they are actually stuck to each other. When a water particle is stuck to the sides of the xylem, it is called adhesion. And when the water particle is stuck to another particle, it is called cohesion.
Making our way to the top of the plant, as we talked about before, plants lose water through the leaves by transpiration. This is one of the most important factors to bring more water into the plant and keeping water moving. Every time a water molecule leaves the plant, cohesion is dragging another one up. If you make your way down to the roots, you would see that every water molecule is stuck to one another through cohesion. This chain link connection of water makes it so that as soon as one molecule of water leaves the plant, another one is drawn in through the roots.
So by now, you hopefully have an understanding of why the plants need their water. We are now going to talk to you about putting the right amount of water on at the right times. You need to make sure that you don't wait too long until you water your plants. Some people say that wilting is a good indicator of when you should water. That is a big mistake. Everything that we said plants need water for will stop happening if you don't water them. All plants have a point when they get too dry. It is called permanent wilting point. If you wait too long to water your plants, you could get to this permanent wilting point. As soon as a plant hits this point, it cannot get better and will end up dying even if you try watering to save it.
Just because we're telling you to water your plants doesn't mean that you want to soak them constantly. Overwatering can be just as harmful as underwatering. If a plant's soil is completely soaked with water all the time, it is impossible for the roots to get any air and they will drown. The nutrients that a plant needs are stuck to the soil. If you oversaturate the soil with water, all the precious nutrients that a plant needs will leach through the soil and the plant will starve.
It is hard to figure out how much the right amount of water is, especially since every plant needs different amounts. After a bit of practice, you will figure it all out and your plants will be nice and healthy.
Hopefully you now have a better understanding of why you need to water your plants, how water works in a plant, and a better idea of how much water you should put on your plants.